Well, 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 if it isn't a person viewing my video on the online content hosting platform YouTube. You can call me JD, and it seems like you and I are embarking on a journey, my friend. A journey of art, of animal skins, of sewing, of painting, of unconventional bookbinding. Yes, today I am returning with my second installment of cute books, this time with a theme, the universally loved and adored fall aesthetic. The season of leaves, multicolored gourds, pleasantly chilled winds, and wide ranges of color such as auburn, ochre, tangerine, rust, amber, burnt umber, and sometimes even some other colors that aren't majorly tinted with orange. We have a variety of text blocks already completed for our purposes today, all with their gluing, headbands, and bookmark bases in place. This first exhibit here is for a gourd book, and as such I have chosen two colors for the text block, faint green on the edges, and a pleasant auburn center. This second installment is a fully black text block fit for a prim black cat that will eventually adorn its cover. The headbands are golden and black to harken back to the eyes of the elegant and proud beast. Our third text block is a quaint purple with white accents along both the bookmark and the headbands. They will sit beneath the cover painting of two skeletons hanging out in a graveyard. The color choices may seem strange now, but I had a vision and I command you to trust it. Second to last, we have this little number. White mixed media pages with gray edges that I manually created by deckling and then sponging ink from an ink pad onto all the pages, both sides, front and back. What more creature deserving than the precious Lil Ghost that will sit upon its face? Last and least, we have our final text block. A deckled red piece with avocado-dyed pages, red and black headbands, and a black leather bookmark denoting the aura of the subject that will be upon this book, a dreadful and terrible spider. If you have had the pleasure, and yes, it is a pleasure, of viewing my other cute books video, you would know that the basis for these books surround the 3-inch glass cabochons and acrylic paintings neath them as centerpieces. The embossing pattern will be the same as last time. If you were in my shoes, you'd find that a 3-inch circle on a 5-inch book isn't a lot of room for complex patterns. I make the template from the center outward, beginning with the area for the cabochon and then cutting away the lowered areas from the raised. I save these pieces for later to add dimension to the back cover. And with those cut, we will take the covers that I assembled to their spines prior to filming and get to work. I attach my cut pieces with either wood glue or PVA glue. Wood glue tends to be stronger, but PVA glue dries faster, and I'm impatient by nature, so. Those pieces we'd saved from earlier may now return to play on our back covers, serving as decorative embellishments. I myself am not fond of extravagantly decorated front covers and completely blank back covers, though to each their own, I suppose. Oh, and to press them while the glue dries, I stand on them with my feet, and it isn't safe to display sexual organs on camera, so they're censored. I had previously marked all of the rivet holes and set about drilling them in. Please, if you bind through literal wall paneling as I do, you need to drill your holes beforehand or you will cry. I did not cry this time, though. Now to leather, my little children. All the spines are somewhat variant in design, and by that I just mean their ridges are shuffled around for fun's sake. I always start from the spine and work my way out, embossing from center to edges, then cover to cover's edge. I've found this to be the most comfortable workflow in terms of convenience and for the contouring of the book itself. There are some techniques when leather binding that I've somewhat developed for my own style and picked up on through many repeated processes, such as the crease of the spine, the wait time for different glued sections, the best ways to smooth things with the bone folder without gouging the leather's surface, things of that nature. They are things that truly do just come with experience, time, and repetition, and I myself still have a lot to learn. But throughout my learning curve, it was always beneficial to watch others leather bind. My brain would subconsciously pick up on those motions and techniques. Often, I would find other binders' videos that I liked and reverse engineer them as I watched, thus bringing about the weird and somewhat atypical amalgam of style I bind for my books. This is a rather new step I've added to my bookbinding routine, and if you didn't notice, it's one I added after leather embossing to the fronts, because I got my knife. This is a process known as skiving or paring. In leather bookbinding, it's meant for thinning the edges of leather for cleaner corners, smoother transitions, and thinned folds. The insides look ugly, yes, I am well aware, and I agree. But don't worry, these ugly areas will get permanently covered and erased from our memory by the end. And when it comes to attachment, yes, it gets even uglier, as you and I can very well see. But hush your pretty little head, for in this state they shall not stay. The cover pages have all been carefully and thoughtfully selected from the open cardstock section at Joann's for your enjoyment. Some may be obvious, but the connections of the pages to their subject matter won't really make much sense until you see the final products. So I ask kindly, humbly, and without room for hesitation for your patience. I measured and cut the cover sheets in advance, if that wasn't clear. When folding, I leave an extra ½ inch on the end of the side that connects to the leather covers to account for the folded hinge of the page near the base of the text block. For those of the books with the privilege of being deckled, I come back and deckle the cover pages on the side that meets the text block. Trust me, it looks weird if you don't. I have found that the straps, which are just strips of leather I've cut out, are a bit thick to fold over themselves in the manner that I demand from them. Luckily, my English right-handed paring knife is here to save the day. For the closures of the straps, I use what old ladies use to clasp their sweaters. They honestly work great for books, would recommend. I glue them for a temporary hold, but these straps will be under pressure and need to be equipped properly. As their supervisor, it is my job to make sure they are prepared with correct PPE, aka actually sewing them on. Now for what is my least favorite part, besides cutting cover boards and cutting embossing out of board, and probably a lot of other things, but this time I'm complaining about the rivets again. Is anyone surprised? I always puncture back through the rivet holes that have been pre-drilled with a little nail that is the perfect size and shape, and if I lose it, I will be doomed for eternity. After doing so, the rivets should properly yet snugly wiggle their cute little way through the puncture locations and sit patiently for a future they don't understand, the mighty hand of a hammer. To attach the straps, I measure and cut them to size and add a temporary hold with glue, which I allow to dry before applying the proper notion to secure them permanently, the remaining of our strong and bold rivets. To attach our final few notions, these cute D-rings and charms will hang from the leather bookmarks. The choice of charms may once again feel strange and unfitting, and I think it will continue to feel so until you see my final vision come together. If you can preemptively guess which goes on what cover design, I will feel a small smidgen of pride, but not for long. Don't get greedy. Now, finally, we return to the canvas circles that I teased near the beginning of this video, now new and improved with sketches on them. These subjects may all feel indicative of Halloween, but I wished to make them a little more year-round in feel, applicable at least to the whole of fall, if not even more depending on your personal vision. I hope this is reflected in our cat, the magnificent and proud creature, a picture of elegance and refinement. Clearly, this posture is demonstrated in my depiction. The color of leather for our cat book is purple and the embellishments gold, and I bore that in mind when choosing my color palette. For our next subject, just the cutest, sweetest little guy, I, of course, could not go through fall without painting a ghost, but he is a year-round ghost, a non-seasonal ghost, if you will. I wished to paint him among a grove of lily-of-the-valley flowers, as I knew I wanted flowers, and then I realized they looked a little like ghosts, so it was literally just inspired and perfect. Also, they're my favorite flower in Minecraft, which is, admittedly, where I got the idea. His leather is silverish white with silver embellishments, so I added small blue hues to complement this. For our haunting and terrifyingly gruesome subject, we have spiders, arachnids, long-legged creatures of the night. Oh, sorry, that's something else entirely, sorry. At any rate, the leather is black, the pages are dark red, but all I wanted to do was make a cute spider scene full of bright greens to contrast the red, and cute little guys with black hues to call back to the color of the leather. And I couldn't just leave my main boy without a friend, so of course, here he is with one. Next on the list, our handsome little gourd pile. This is very fallish, and that was somewhat unavoidable, so I blended the theme into Thanksgiving colors as well, and hope that whoever decides they can put up with these little guys year-round loves them during all seasons, not just the one they clearly represent. They have deep purple leather, the same color shared by the black cat, and I knew it would be complementary to utilize warmer colors to accentuate the gold embellishments, and a light background color that will touch the leather backdrop they eventually sit upon. Next, our handsome graveyard skeletons. This was a little more on-the-nose Halloween themed, so I took a step back with the color palette, as you'll see. Make it less of a spook or a haunt, and more of a vibe. Am I making any sense? Regardless, I've developed an entire headcanon for them, and I encourage you to do the same. Their leather is also silvery white, and naturally, the darker hues need to surround the circular canvas with their bone-white frames in the boundaries comfortably. Now the pressure is on. I roughly and free-handedly cut all the paintings, guesstimating inside the cut line since they tend to need less excess than their domed cabochons measure. With each painting all neatly circular and adequately prepared for attachment, I do so. I use leather glue and a bit of miracle solution, Loctite. To attach the cabochons, they themselves are actually fairly heavy, all things considered. The only reliable method for attachment I've found is quick-drying epoxy glue. It dries clear and far more solid than any other simple glue. I apply it only to the edges of the cabochon and assure that the epoxy makes contact with the glass, as well as the leather, not just the canvas. And as I give them ample time to dry, they have time to prepare for their glamour shots. And of course, my signature. And here's the bunch. Our sweet gourds, adorable spiders, sentimental ghost, cosmic cat, and skeleton buddies. Thank you for joining me on this somewhat shortened adventure compared to my other undertakings, but I always like the focus to be mostly on the aesthetics and paintings for my cute books. Since they're so fun to create and I already have so many more ideas, trust me, there will be additional cute books in the future. Let me know which ended up being your favorite. Personally, I love the adorable Lil Ghostie. And now, as this melancholic piano playlist I'm listening to reminds me that I'm a young Victorian girl living through a period of plague and sadness, I fondly wish all of you, my darlings, a lovely evening.